You're a first-generation attorney in your family.
Yes, I am.
What caused Lucian Ledestro to become an attorney?
Well, I was going to be a coach. I enjoyed sports through high school and college, and I went in the Army and thought that I should come back and become a coach. And while I was in the Army, I started thinking about either being an attorney or going in with the overseas or the can't even think of the name of it right now. The service for the United States, where you go overseas as a consulate or something. And I was thinking of going to Washington U, and I made registration at Albany Law School, and they accepted me, and I came home from the service, went to law school, and come out of law school and started practicing here in Jamestown. My wife wanted to stay in Albany because she was from that area, but I always liked the area here, and I enjoy hunting and fishing, which we have very close by. And so I went to law school, graduated from law school, came back here, and been here ever since.
Tell me about your mom and dad.
My dad was born over in Sicily, immigrated here with his family. There was 5 boys and a girl. And my grandpa, the reason we ended up here in Faulkner is my grandfather Ledestro landed in New York City, migrated to Buffalo, and they started to work in the canning factories in Silver Creek. Then my grandfather got a job on the DAV&P Railroad that ran from Dunkirk down to Titusville, and he became the track foreman.
Okay.
And so he, of course, called all his Gumbadis from over in Italy. And it's funny because my grandfather, Onyebenny, my mother's father, had also migrated to New Orleans, and they were sharecroppers down in the Louisiana area, around Moreauville. And so my grandfather got in contact with them and brought them all up. In fact, as you know, Faulkner has a lot of Italian names like the Alessis, the Johns, the Gattos, Polizzis. They were all from the same little town, Vallelongo, over in Italy. And he congregated them all here to work on a railroad, and that's how they got here, to be quite good. Oh, yeah. In fact, Sam Conti's father was one of my grandfather's buddies. And Charlie Mastretta, I don't know if you're old enough, he practiced law. He was from Faulkner. His father came over. And this community was Swedish and Italian. I mean, and they got along well. But, so my dad had migrated over, and he got my grandfather, Onyebenny, up here, and in them days they had planned marriages, and between the 2 Gumbadis they decided that mom and dad should marry, which they did. Right. And, of course, the rest is history. They had their 4 children, and everybody's still around, thank God.
Now, your dad, what did he do for a living?
Well, first of all, he was a professional baseball player. He's a very good professional baseball player. He made it all the way to the Boston Braves, but he hurt his arm. Well, he went in the Army, then he came back and hurt his arm playing with Jersey City. And in them days, they cut him open bad. And he always had a little trouble with his arm, but he pitched several seasons in the minors, and he came home. In fact, he pitched a doubleheader against Poland Center for a championship when I was a little bat boy, when he was 50, I think he was 55. He pitched a doubleheader down at Poland Center. I'll never forget that. Yeah, that was the last time he pitched. But he worked in the furniture industry. He was a laborer, right. Worked in the furniture factories. And he used to like to tell me the story whenever I give him a hard time about money and cars and stuff. They lived on Mosier Street in Faulkner, and they used to walk to Jamestown Taylor up on the boat landing and walk all the way back. And I asked him, well, why did you walk? He said, to save 10 cents for the bus each way, or the trolley. Right. In Fenton days, they had the trolley. But it's amazing. He used to tell me they'd only make, God, I don't know, $10. Or I know, I can remember during the Depression, he made $11 a week and raised 4 of us, plus Ma. Bought a house, had a car. We never really missed all the things that everybody's got today. But in them days, you had the radio, you didn't have television, you didn't have all these trips. I don't think my mom and pa, I don't think took 3 or 4 trips in their life away from Faulkner.
Right.
But they just didn't want to. I tried to get them to go back to Italy.
Right.
I bought them tickets and everything for their 50th. He wouldn't go.
Right. Right.
So he always said that this was his country, and he served over in France during the Second World War, or the First World War, with the infantry. But he liked it here. Ma loved it here. She lived to be 97 years old, just passed away a few years ago. So we had a good life.
And they met here?
Yeah, here in Faulkner. Yep.
So this has been hometown. And then you go off to St. Bonaventure?
Yep, I graduated from Faulkner High School, went to St. Bonaventure, got my degree there in sociology, went in the Army for 2 years during the Korean War, came back, went to law school at Albany Law School, Union University, came back here and set up practice with Joe Girassi for 13 years.
How did that happen? How did you guys connect?
I came back here, and very frankly, I was broke, and I had some debt, and I needed a job. And the only job you'll like this one. I interviewed with Tubby Scarpino and Ross Spoto, a couple of other fellows I can't remember. And the best offer I had was $30 a week from Tubby. And I told Tubby, I said, geez, thanks for the offer, but I can't really take it. So I got a job working as a claims adjuster. In fact, John Goodell had just left just before me. He was a claims adjuster for Travelers. We worked for Howard Walder. He offered me $100 in a car. Well, hell, in them days, Mickey Mantle only made $100, so I felt I was doing good. And in fact, Bill Cass and I have talked about it over the years. We would have signed a lifetime contract for $50 to $100, but that was my start. I started with the insurance company, and Howard Walder knew Joe Girassi quite well, and apparently he talked to him about he had this young lawyer working for him that if he ever needed a partner or anybody, let him know. Well, Joe gave me a call, and we had a chat and got together, and so we became partners. I was with him for 13 years until he became the county executive. And then I went in with Art Bailey. I was there for, gosh, I don't know, almost 20 years probably. Then I broke that off, and we, when I was with Joe, we had young fellows, Jeff Weesey came with us out of school, Dick Fessenden, and Paul King, if you remember him, the assistant he became the district attorney. And then when I was with Art, we had several fellows there. We had Mike Goldman, Joe Moran. I'm trying to think. Well, Warren Erickson, John Ward. We had a bunch of guys there. Charlie Loveland was there for a while. And then I terminated, at that time, I terminated that. And then I went in with my nephew. My nephew came in with me, John Lomancuso, who's now the city court judge, and Phil Calla. And then later on, Bill Duncanson came in with us. And then later on, we had John Vanstrom and Greg Edwards and Randy Lewis, Steve Cass, who was with us until he became a judge. And then in 2001, I was ready to retire, and Chuck D'Angelo prevailed upon me to maybe come over there and merge our offices. And I felt a little badly. I wanted the boys to have a place to work and the secretary, so I went over there, and I thought it was just going to be a short period, and here I'm still over there. I'm enjoying it. I'm not working as hard as I used to, but I'm enjoying it. And they've been very good to me. And they've taken a lot of burden off me because we've got some very competent people over there. And it's been a pleasure practicing that way. But all in all, it's been a good life. It's been a good life.